Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome to the weekly developers chat here on Privateer Press.
No one ever calls it by its real name.
I feel like a newscast. Welcome to the developers chat. I am Will Hungerford, organized play developer for Privateer Press. With me
is Oz Schoonover, another Will.
Another Will.
And it's called the Dev Hangout, not the developer chat.
Development manager for Privateer Press and my boss, as you can tell.
Yeah, he listens so well.
So before we get started, we'll be talking about the last week of the Crucible Guard CID update and the very, very special 15th anniversary of War Machine surprise that got dropped into CID today, including showing some of the concept art of these new models.
That concept art is not on the CID forums.
No one has
like
seen it yet.
Normally be.
If you're watching now, and we are streaming live, we're on Twitch. You can follow us at twitch.tv/privateerpress. If you're watching this on YouTube later on, we are live streaming and people are talking to us right now. So occasionally we'll call out somebody's name, repeat their question, and we will talk back to them. So if you see this later on, we're not crazy. If you want to watch us live, though, by the way, we do this 3 times a week, and sometimes we do special shows, which I'll talk about in a second. Every Tuesday, we play games. Usually War Machine, Company of Iron. You never know what we're going to have on there, though. You can pretty much bet that when Monpok comes out, we'll be playing some Monpok. That's the weekly Rumble, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific. Right now, Dev Hangout. Hang out with me,
you got it so close.
Pagani.
Right?
I said Dev Hangout.
I know. Yeah.
Devs,
so
we hang out.
Some of the development team comes in and talks to you about what we're doing.
We talk
what's
about
going on.
Thursdays, Dallas does a live stream where he paints. Sometimes he does modeling. He talks to you about new techniques, and he answers questions about paintings at Get Your Paint On. It's the best show we put on. This Friday, specifically, April 6th, we are doing our second ever Primecast Live, which is our sort of variety show where we just talk about a lot of different things going on in the company, a lot of cool things coming up. So join us, 10 a.m. Pacific on Friday for Primecast Live. So, that should be everything. Should we get to it?
Sure.
Let's start with the Crucible Guard CID changes for this week.
Yeah.
Before go over them, not a lot changed. The CID is really dialing in. This is the last week of it, so if you've got any feedback, definitely let us know. Get your battle reports in. We imagine we'll have a lot more people coming in because of the special surprise that dropped this week as well, so you have some good chance to test some of the new models. But we're really ratcheting down and just looking for really small, minor tweaks at this point. We're almost done here.
Yeah.
So, Oz, why don't you cover some of the things that changed, man?
So, we want to change a little bit about how the Crucible Guard infantry worked. We've got effects in the game that turn things into magic attacks, and those have a secondary effect also on them. And theirs originally was models hit, lose incorporeal for a round. But
super good.
We have other things that can do that, so we wanted to give these guys a little bit of a different space. So we put the secondary effect on this one that on a crit, upkeep spells and animi on the model hit.
Yeah, they pick up Blood of Arcane, which the combat alchemists have.
Yeah.
So now, like, the ability to remove animi and upkeep spells is very, very strong in this faction. But this is still powerful. It's just not as powerful as the incorporeal ability, which does, like you said, still exist in other places in the faction.
Yeah. We also changed the granted ability on their command attachment.
Yeah. So one of the complaints we were getting was that the unit felt a little too static, especially with the mini feat allowing them to shoot twice. And we wanted them, the reason we took repo away is because we wanted the reposition to really be what the Rocketmen were doing. But during the CID process, the Rocketmen and the Crucible Guard infantry really diverged in terms of what they're doing for the army and how they play. So we realized that even though both units would have reposition, it wasn't too much overlap. And now having this gun line be able to walk up, shoot a bunch, or aim, use the dual shot, and then repo to be just a little bit more mobile, they're still not going to be competing with Rocketmen in terms of how mobile they are.
Yeah.
Another very, very important change that occurred is the Crucible Guard mechanic went to Def 12. He was Def 13, and he was wearing the exact same armor as everyone else that was Def 12.
Yeah, a while ago we dropped some of the defs of some of the models that are basically the same guys, clothing-wise, down to 12, and we missed him. So now he's Def 12 too.
This is a super relevant change. Super relevant. Faction defining. A little bit more important though. We did make another change to one of the major theme forces, which is Magnum Opus. We allowed for battle engines to count towards the points that trigger free models. And this is because we wanted to further incentivize using the rail lists outside of just the McKay lists in Primo Materia.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will just open up some more list building options for players and give you a little bit more wiggle room with what you want to do and what you want to try out, especially with some of the changes we did earlier with Silvestro's Super Fuel now affecting the battle engines and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And then the last two things on our list are technically changes for the other thing in CID right now.
Yeah, creators might. The theme force change from specifying Tristan Durant to solos with battle group commander, like what you see in other places that allows them to take any sort of journeyman. Similarly for Kador, Jaws of the Wolf picked up the same thing, solos with battle group commander, which does mean they pick up Malakoff, which is pretty cool.
But that has nothing to do with Crucible.
Was he already in there? Man, I should have read that before I came on the live
He might
stream.
have been.
But let's get to the main thing that we want to talk about, and super big announcement. So this is the 15th anniversary of War Machine this year. So we're doing some special things, and one of the special things is we're releasing 4 new Journeyman Warcasters, and these are, what do we want to put them, Zero casters?
Yeah, they are numbered.
And
their
they're
name and zero.
They're zero, right?
They are prequels.
They are.
To existing characters.
These are these characters before we ever came to know them in their original incarnations. This is them as they were coming up through the ranks and weren't full-fledged Warcasters yet. And this is like the first time we've ever gone back in time and created historical models. Now, they'll still work in your normal armies. There's no rules, so you can't use them. And we'll go through which theme forces they work through as we go through each one. So let's start with Journeyman Lieutenant Alistair Kane.
Yep.
Kane 0. We do want to say that being that these are iconic characters, you're going to notice that the strength and the impact of these models is immediate. They have some very strong abilities and very powerful abilities, and that is intentional. We want them to, be sort of this echo of their former self. You'll see a lot of their original flavor come back and see how they were, just how valuable they were even when they were a journeyman.
Yeah.
So, Kane 0. By the way, if you want to look at these rules and actually test with them, you go to cid.privateerpress.com. They are in CID right now. You can start testing them immediately and give us your feedback on what you think.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Kane 0 a bit?
Sure.
Okay.
He's a gunfighter like you would expect.
Yeah.
He's still got Rat 7, so he's still really good with his pistol. And he has hip shooting. Brand new ability, right?
Yeah, it's basically like Swift Hunter, but it doesn't require you to kill anything. It works off hit. So you shoot something, and if you hit them, you can move 2 inches, versus Swift Hunter, which is if you kill, you can move 2 inches.
Yeah, so he's going to be mobile in addition to being really accurate with his gun.
Because he's got 2 pistols.
Yeah.
Bang, bang.
He also has shot types.
Bang, bang.
So he has magical pistols because they're mage locks. And he has 2 of them because he's Kane. And then he has Black Penny, like you'd expect from a gun mage. Thunderbolt, which you expect from Kane, and Trick Shot.
And Trick Shot, which is super powerful.
Yeah.
And I want to, before we go on real fast, let's cover his spells, and then there's a question I want to answer that came up in chat.
I'm going to do the spells in the backwards order because Spirit Door is a really interesting mobility thing. Kane's always been thematically about teleporting around.
Spirit Door is amazing.
Yeah.
Because it lets you, the jack you put on him, remember the journeymen have to take a jack. You can put that jack forward. Let's just go with a very simple example. Let's say you have a charger. It powers up, it's got the powerful attack. Say the charger moves up, takes a shot, you put it way further than it should, so you would be like maybe peace trading, like you put it forward, and then you Spirit Door it back to Kane. Like, with the lights you can take, and the heavies that you can take in Signar and the ranges, like being able to pop back is amazing. It's amazing.
But then, he's also got Snipe.
He's got Snipe.
So this allows Snipe in a lot of armies.
Well, Kane works in 2 theme forces.
Yep.
He works in Sons of the Tempest because he's a gun mage, and he works in Heavy Metal because he's a journeyman. Red Death on Twitch has said, can we get the intended role and power level of the 0 casters? Kane 0 has Snipe upkeep, which can be upkeep for free in Sons of the Tempest. Seems quite powerful. Then he says, never mind, you covered it, Snipe OP. So yes, these are intended to be very, very strong, powerful characters because, like I said, they grew up to be the Warcasters we were all introduced in the game with. So they're also characters, which means obviously they're not going to be able to work with their own selves. You're not going to be able to bring Kane 0 with any of the 3 other Kanes, and they've only got the limited theme forces that they work in.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Kane 0, super exciting, super mobile. I think he's going to have a lot of cool tricks with Spirit Door, and you're going to be keeping Snipe on something every
And
turn.
he's speed 7, just base stat line. So he's not slow just walking around.
One Up Kid said, can Kane 0 use Ace? While you can add Ace to Kane Zero, remember that they aren't Warcasters. So there's certain things, for example, if you bring Kane Zero in a theme force that Ace is not allowed in, that doesn't allow you to suddenly take Ace in that theme force. It's the reason that like Iacos 1 couldn't take Charybdis in any theme force.
Yeah, but the bond rules say, well, in that model's battle group, and Journeyman have battle groups, so Ace does work with Kane. Yeah. All of his abilities unlock.
Zane Zoller says he's worried about Snipe with Nemo 3. Well, that's why they're in CID right now. So if you have something you're really concerned about, remember the power level we're going for here, come test it and let us know. Try and find your biggest exploit, the most powerful combo you think you can find. Try it out and tell us what you think. The thing about Snipe is, in these theme forces, we've seen it before. Right, Snipe isn't something that Signar doesn't have access to. Now, they're going to have Snipe on casters that didn't have it before, and that is the new thing, and that's what we're looking to test. But it's not like Snipe in Signar is unheard of. It's just unheard of with certain casters. Let's move on to the next one, and the one I'm the most excited about.
Yeah?
Severius Zero. Scrutator, was it Potentate?
Potentate.
Potentate.
Oh, no, wait. It is Potentate.
It's Potentate. Scrutator, Potentate, Severius.
Spelled weird.
Severius 0. Let me start by saying that if you remember Severius 1, Severius 1 is Def 14, Armor 14. Severius 0, Def 15, Arm 15.
Well, that's because when the story starts for War Machine, Severius is like 70 years old.
He's so much more spry back then.
He's a real old guy.
He costs 6 points, and that's because he's insane.
I don't know about insane.
He has Eye of Minoth. So let's just start. He's a Focus 5 Journeyman.
Okay. Which is higher than all these other Journeymen.
He has Eye of Minoth for his 10-inch control range, +1 to attack and damage to all other models. That's going to work in Exemplar Interdiction, and we've added him to Creator's Might.
Yeah.
Okay? So right there, he's adding a ton of value to any army you want to bring him to. And he'll be free in a lot of theme forces as well, because he's a solo.
Yeah.
He's also got Oracular Vision, so he can just, negate an attack that comes in on him. So, before we even talk about any of the spells he has, his spell list could be blank. If he was just a dude walking around with Eye of Minoth and 5 focus to give to Protector Ajax and had Oracular Vision, that would be amazing.
Sure.
But then we made him better.
Well, yeah, because Journeymen have spells.
Journeymen have spells. He's got Immolate, which, if you're like, well, I don't know about Immolate, you put Blessing of Vengeance on him, and he's Focus 5. Like, he can get some Immolates out there if he needs to. He's got Mystic Wards, which is super powerful utility if it's useful, but he's got Road to War, and I'm really interested to see what people do with Road to War, because say that you put a Templar on him, say they put a Reckoner on him. Being able to have somebody off the side that's in his Eye of Minoth kill something, and then you get to move that Templar up, and he can fully fuel that thing and still be safe, even if he just sits on 2 focus, uses 1 for Oracular Vision, and has another soak. I think we're looking at a Journeyman that very much is going to want to take possibly a heavy or 2 Redeemers, the usual tactics. Obviously, Eye of Minoth is a huge deal, and we're looking for everybody to test it as much as they can in CID. We've tested it; it's powerful. Yeah, it's crazy powerful, but it's not game breaking.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of range. It's only 10 inches from him, so it doesn't cover the entire table. And he does, to get some placement on it, he's going to have to come forward some.
Yep.
So, and he's not impossible to kill.
Oh, he's not impossible to kill.
He's just got better stats than he's ever had before.
Yeah, Severius Zero. Well, no, not better than before, because he jumps up, 3 more focus when he becomes a real-on Warcaster.
Sure, I meant definitely.
And then picks up, a feat, and Sacred Ward, and all those kind of things. So, definitely try him out, and let us know what you think. Squalish on Twitch says, why would you ever bring Sevi 1 again when you can bring his best ability for free? Well, it's because Sevi 1 does more than just Eye of Minoth and has a really cool feat and a lot of other abilities. And I think you're going to see, that's what we're interested to see, is where these people, where you all use these abilities and how it plays out. So let us know. We're going to switch over to Denegra now.
Oh, we're skipping things?
Well, yeah, we're doing the next one that we have concept art for.
Yeah. So like we said, these are releasing over the next year.
Yes.
At conventions. So
we hadn't said that yet.
Sure.
We're saying it now.
Yeah.
So in case you're wondering how you get these, they're going to release across the next year, right? And they're going to be first released at major conventions. As conventions come up, we will announce when they're coming.
Yeah.
These are not going to come as one big drop. You're not going to see all 4 of them happen in 1 month or something like that. But we're testing them now so that we're prepped for the season going forward to release them throughout the 15th anniversary of War Machine. But yeah, let's go over Denegra. Warwitch Initiate Denegra.
Denegra is also fast. speed 7, def 15 still, so she's hard to hit.
Yep.
She still has stealth also because she's a war witch. So in her training level, she's learned how to make herself, difficult to spot. She also has parry because she's still got the witch barbs. And she has Soul Taker, Cold Soul, so she can still collect souls. So she's still doing a lot of the stuff that you would expect Denegra to be doing.
Well, specifically, she has Parasite. So
You're jumping ahead. No,
we're
talking about the spells last.
That's what they're looking at.
Sure.
That's what they're
She
looking
also, though, before we get to spells, she has 2 knives, and they both have Shadow
They
Bind.
both. She's got a half-inch melee range,
So
but she does have double.
She can Shadow
uh,
Bind 2 targets if they're real close together.
Yeah, and then die. But like,
Maybe that's all she was there for.
that could be. And in games where like that is the thing. Like, yes, if you walk up and Shadow Bind, it's Magic Candyland where you manage to Shadow Bind 2 different heavies. But typically, you can walk up and Shadow Bind a heavy and then get murdered. But if you Shadow Bind a heavy or something for a turn, or something that can't shake, that you really need to lock down,
Yep.
worth it. Let's go over spells real fast.
You already did, but okay.
She has
cool.
Parasite.
She's got Parasite.
Now, again, this is sort of like Snipe on Kane Zero. A lot of people are going to be like, oh my god, Parasite everywhere. We already know what Parasite does in Crix. We've seen it before, and we know what Parasite would do for the casters that didn't have it. And she only works in 2 theme forces. She was in Black Industries and Infernal Machines. So we already had a good basis to start off with, especially in those themes, knowing where she would be and what it could do. We've tested it. And so a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Parasite everywhere. Play it. It's really not as bad as you think. Again, because we've seen
But
Parasite in Crix
also,
forever.
give us feedback on that.
Yeah, test it. Now, we've been known to be wrong from time to time.
Yeah.
We make mistakes. We're humans.
We change things.
We've tested it.
Yeah.
We're pretty happy with it. But that's why it's in CID.
Yeah.
It's in
And-
CID because we really want to see what you think and what you come up with that maybe we missed.
And the other thing on her spell list is Dark Seduction because she's Denegra.
Yeah, Dark Seduction I think is it's fun utility. It's fluffy. But really she's a possible Shadowbind missile and Parasite. She's also only focus 4.
Yeah.
So landing Parasite, obviously if you're going after a heavy, you just cast Parasite and boost, and then she's sitting on no focus and she gets squished. But, like, I'm not super worried. If somebody brings the Warp Wolves, you're playing Circle, right? She needs a boosted 10 to hit it with the Parasite, and then she's just dead next turn anyway. So, like,
Probably.
play it. It's not as crazy as you think.
Yeah.
Promise. So, let's move on to the next one, who we don't have concept art for.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's not finished yet.
Yeah.
So, the next one we're going over is Sorsha Zero. This is Kovnik Apprentice Kratikov? Because we don't even call her Sorsha,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Her last name's Kratikov.
And here on the live stream right now, we've put up the Kador. And I believe, John, do you have some special effects? No special effects? Okay, we're just going to leave the faction up there right now.
Okay.
So this is
Yeah.
Sorsha. If you remember, Sorsha joined the Winter Guard at a very young age. I think this is her after her father has been killed by the Butcher at Thelig. And she's moving her way up the ranks.
But she hasn't got Frostfang yet.
She has not gotten Frostfang yet. She has not picked up Frostfang. So,
She's immune to cold.
Yep.
Look, special effects.
what? But John, was that your special effects?
So, she's also Def 15, so she's still Sorsha.
Yep.
She's immune to cold.
Yep.
And she has, abilities-wise, no sleeping on the job Winter Guard.
Which is something that Winter Guard don't have. And we're going to talk about this in combination with her spell list real fast. She's got a blunderbuss, she's got a magical mechanical axe, cool. But she's got Fog of War. Let's just talk about Fog of War, and then we'll go into other spell in a second. So, Fog of War in the Winter Guard Command. And right now she works in Winter Guard Command, and we're adding her to Jaws of the Wolf. That's really cool that Winter Guard are finally getting this sort of like defensive bubble they can put up that to protect them on the way in. I mean, this will be very powerful. One of the first things we tested in was Vlad 1 rockets. We played multiple games with Vlad 1 rockets to see how it played out. And the no sleeping on the job with Joe giving a unit tough, if you decide to do that, is useful, or if anybody just throws anything that might knock you down. The no sleeping on the job requires either synergy or it requires a certain matchup to be useful, whereas the Fog of War is pretty much always useful. Couple questions that popped up. Somebody said blunderbuss, not a hand cannon. Remember, these are like the historical versions. She doesn't have her hand cannon just yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lean this way a little bit because I'm just like, I'm so excited. I'm just like leaning into you right now. The other spell, so Kane Zero has Snipe as his like useful everywhere.
Yeah.
Denegra has Parasite. Severus has Eye of Menoth. She has kind of 2. She has Fog of War and she has boundless charge. 2 boundless charges a turn is crazy good.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. Have you played her yet?
I have not played her yet.
Because you've been testing the other ones, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add about Sorcerer Zero?
I don't think so.
Now, another consideration with Sorcerer Zero is the other 3 casters have access to cheaper lights. If you want to take them and pay the cheapest possible, jack cost you can, because they all have to have a jack. The other factions have 6-7 point lights. She's looking at like a Berserker as her cheapest.
Yeah.
Personally, if you're trying to just put the cheapest one on her, we found using a Rager on her is quite good, because having the shield guard there and then just using her with Fog of War, the shield guard, and then balance charging things as she needs to, it's a pretty powerful package. So it's also a pretty pricey package, make no mistake there. So that's what we dropped in CID today. You hype? How hype are you?
It's hype as always.
As hype as always.
Same level of hype.
I'm the super hype one. I'm really excited. I'm excited for everybody to get to test these. Let us know what they think. There's obviously going to be some incredible, and we've seen it already on social media. There's a lot of like, what the hell? Like Snipe and Parasite, what's going on? I have Minoth, like, and honestly, that's an exciting reaction to get, because that's what we wanted out of these. These are iconic characters celebrating the 15th anniversary of War Machine.
Yep.
And we want their impact on the table, whether they are their full Warcaster version or these up-and-coming versions of them to be strong. Now,
we have a lot of questions about hordes.
Yeah, I was about to say, we've had questions about Mercs, Ret, Convergence, Hordes.
But remember, hordes came out in 2006. So 15 years of hordes is not for a little while.
Sure, and let's just if somebody's asked, is every faction getting one of these in this release? It is just these 4, and the reason it's just these 4 is because we sort of said this is a celebration of the 15 years of War Machine, so we went with the original 4 factions and 4 classic casters.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you won't see possibly in the future some other 0 Journeyman casters, but it doesn't mean that you will. So I can just tell you that for the time being, just focus on these 4. These are the 4 that are coming out.
Yep.
Let's see if we've got any questions from chat before we take our dev talk offline for the day.
It's a hangout.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. Like somebody asked about Mercs. Somebody asked if we'll get a Virus 0 eventually. Will Hordes get the same treatment? Okay, so we've got a lot of questions right now about
Rash
this
Death Zero is funny.
Yeah, Rash Death Zero would be awesome, because the original concept of art of him is him standing. Yeah, like he looks like a sumo wrestler, like a scorned sumo wrestler. He's got nipple rings where they're little lightning bolts, by the way.
Sure, why not?
That's real life. I'll see if I can find that. Boris said,
don't look for that. Don't
I'll find it. You can find it online. Boris22 said, should the Signar one be Magnus Zero? If we did a Magnus Zero, there's a lot of options we could do there. We could probably do like a Partisan if we felt like it.
But just wait and see.
Yeah. So mainly, looks like most of the questions we're getting right now is, will there be ones for other factions? And the answer is we don't have an announcement on that at the moment. It's just these 4. If you're wanting to come participate again, if you just joined us, go to cid.privateerpress.com. That's where you can look at the full rules yourself, get some playtest games in, and give us feedback. This is the final week of the Crucible Guard CID, so get your final thoughts in. And these casters are in this final week. We've got a tight schedule. Upcoming next is going to be the Exemplar CID. Right after that will be Tharn CID. And we've got to keep going on the CIDs. So if you want to test these Journeymans, come do it now. Dragon Pup says, will Severius Zero be available to test during Exemplar CID since he can be taken in them? Probably, but that's not 100% set just yet. Any other questions you want to get to, my friend?
No, I'm seeing the same questions over and over and over again, and I think we've answered them.
Dark Wizards has a really good one. Are there any particular synergies we want tested with the Journeyman? Test them in their themes. Test them with casters that don't already have access to the, no one's got access to Menoth but Severius. So for Severius, try him with strong gun lines, jack heavy gun lines. Try him in Exemplar, you can run him up behind infantry if you're doing waves of infantry, and it's okay, but I think gun lines is where he's stronger. With Kane, show us what you can do with Snipe. How far forward? What are your threat ranges? What's the best threat range you can come up with in Snipe in a way that you didn't expect to have it? Denegra Parasite. Infernal Machines with a ton of thralls is really strong. And in Black Industries, we kind of again, we know what these spells do, but try it with casters that have more damage buffing or debuff stacking that they didn't have access to Parasite before. And let us know what the biggest swing you can get and how it impacted your game. We've already done a lot of that, but let us know how it affected you. And let us know what counterplay you see. Are any of these Journeymen too strong in their own defensive capabilities? Are they too hard to remove off the table? Is Oracular Vision on Severius the cherry on the top that makes him just a bit too hard to get rid of?
Yeah. And we had a couple of questions about when the next CID is or how long there's going to be between CIDs. We'll make an announcement about the start date of the next one in a little bit. Yep. We do take breaks between CIDs, but we take a break depending on what else we have going on, and it kind of fluctuates sometimes. So we'll announce the new start date soon.
So, Hungerford, I've got a question.
What up, dog?
So if people are confused exactly where to start with testing for these zero level Journeyman casters, what about the new Battle Box casters? A lot of those seem like they'd be really interesting matchups. So like Malachus with Severius Zero, so on and so forth.
I mean, they could. You could try it out, for sure. No, not really. Actually, the more I think about it, I think that those casters fit in a certain theme forces. Like Malachus is really good in certain themes. And you could play him in Creator's Might. I don't know that Malachus is his strongest in Exemplar Interdiction. Probably stronger in Creator's Might, so you could do it that way. But there's different lists. If somebody's looking to get started, I would say take the list you already got playing. Look at these casters and figure out where you want to throw them.
Will Pagani, jumping into the dev hangout, even though he's not here, he's super hype about Malachus with Severius Zero.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. I don't know that like Malachus is one of the ones that you could definitely use. I think in Creator's Might.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think I would use them in Exemplar. So I wouldn't say it's a blanket statement. I'd say you have to very, very carefully pick and choose. That's my off-the-cuff immediate thought about it, John. John, I have a question for you. Which one are you most excited about?
By now, people should know which one is my second favorite Warcaster of all time, so it's obviously going to be my
Kane?
favorite.
Kane?
No.
You're a huge Kane fan.
I am a huge Kane fan, but he's in my top 5, not even top 3.
You have a Kane tattoo.
No, I don't.
Oh. So let's see if there's any other questions going on right now.
The answer is Sorsha.
Is it Sorsha?
Yeah.
I thought you were a bigger Gunmage fan than that.
No, Sorsha with almost any of the others, but most humorously probably Vlad.
Cool.
Probably Vlad too.
Well, let's see if we've got any other questions before we start to cut this out. Looks like nope. Everybody's just talking about ideas right now in our chat right now about different lists they want to try out, and that's great. That's what we want to see, everybody. Start brewing immediately on which kind of list you want to try and where you think you can get the most value out of these. And then come join us again, cid.privateerpress.com. Give us battle reports, give us your feedback, let us know what you think. So we're going to go ahead and start shutting this down. A reminder of our schedule. Every week, Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, we do the weekly Rumble where typically members...
Somebody plays.
Yeah, it's usually like a member of development, somebody else, but we've mixed and matched with a lot of different people on the staff. We play games. And come watch us play games and laugh at us as I roll nothing but snake eyes.
And that will be someday soon your first chance to see Monpoc get played.
Yes, and I'm very excited about that.
No guesstimate on when that's going to happen, but it's going to happen before it comes out.
Yep.
We're going to play a preview game.
Yeah. Dev Hangouts. Where
Which is what we're doing right now.
We just talk about the game and what's coming out new and about the rules and where things are going. A lot of CID talk.
Yeah.
Thursdays is Get Your Paint On with Dallas, where he is painting or modeling something new, showing off new techniques, and answering your questions about, how do I paint yellow?
Well, sure.
How do I paint bright yellow?
Yeah.
I want to paint a bee. How do I paint a bee?
Nobody wants to paint a bee.
I want to paint a bee, and how do I
Nobody
get that
wants to
cool
paint a
black and yellow bee stripe and make it look crisp?
No one's ever asked that question.
How do I paint a non-metallic metal bee? Dallas has those answers.
How would you paint a metallic metal
This
bee?
Friday, one more time.
Real confused.
On the 6th, we're doing Primecast Live, the second episode of it. So please come join us at our variety show where we're just going to talk about a lot of different things going on in the company. New things coming up. I think we're going to have some more Monpoc talk during the Struggle of Wills.
At least a little bit.
Yep, we're going to try and reveal a little bit more about Monpoc to you and just talk a little bit more about the game on the Primecast Live coming up this Friday. So we will talk to you all then. Thanks for joining us. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, follow, hug, kiss, and all those things to let us know that you enjoy these live streams.
Maybe not the kisses.
Bye, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Doug Seacat jumped in there at the end and was like, dropping some knowledge.
his
People
voice-
asking about ages of
His voice,
characters.
His voice is like butter. You ever listen to that man talk?
Butter?
Like butter.